In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to perform a vulnerability scan. I'm working on a Kali Linux machine, but the vulnerability scanner and the other tools that I'm going to use are also available and supported on other common distributions like Ubuntu, CentOS, Red Hat, and Windows. When performing a vulnerability scan, our first step is to identify the host or the IP address ranges that we want to scan. To that end, I'm going to first discover what hosts are available on my network. If I type the command IP address into my terminal, I'm returned with the results of what the IP address of my local machine is. On ETH0, which is my network interface, I have an IP address of 192.168.2.9, and I have a subnet of /24. So I'm going to initially scan that subnet, the range of 192.168.2.1 with a subnet mask of 24 to see if I have any other hosts on the network that are up and alive that I could perform a vulnerability scan on. To do that, I'm going to use Nmap as my tool. So in my terminal, I'm going to type the command Nmap, and then I'm going to give it a flag to just do host discovery, which is -sp, and then I'm going to give it the subnet range, which is 192.168.2.1/24. And this will give me any hosts that are up and alive that are reachable on my current network. And in the results, Nmap has found 2 hosts that are up and alive. The first host in the list is Nmap scan report for 192.168.2.9. Well, that is my local address. And I know that's alive because I'm currently working on that machine, but it's not very interesting to me. The second host that is up is listed as 192.168.2.11. That's more interesting to me because now there's another host on the network that I can perform a vulnerability scan on. So at this point, I now have a target. Now I need to go to my vulnerability scanner. There are a wide range of different vulnerability scanners that you can use, but the fundamental way that they're used and the results that they give are all fairly similar. So if you're familiar with one, then it's pretty easy to move between vulnerability scanners. In this case, I'm going to be using OpenVAS. Now, on my Kali Linux machine, OpenVAS is already installed. But if it's not installed already, you may have to install it yourself. So on Kali Linux and other flavors that use apt-get, you can run the command sudo apt-get install OpenVAS. And this will install the OpenVAS vulnerability scanner on your machine. Now, in my case, OpenVAS is already installed at the newest version. But if it wasn't, then this command would take you through the installation process. Once you have OpenVAS installed, you need to set it up. And you do that with the command gvm-setup. And this will take you through an automated setup process that will actually configure OpenVAS for you to run. And at the end of this setup, it will print out a default administrator password to use for your first time logging into the web GUI, which will be installed and we'll look at shortly. Make sure you note that default password somewhere so you don't have to run through the setup process again the second time. This setup process will take quite a while. It can take upwards of 20 to 30 minutes. But once we've run our gvm setup command, we can check that everything is set up properly with the command gvm-check-setup. And at the end of this command, we have a line that says, it seems like your GVM installation is okay. So at this point, our GVM seems to be set up and good to go. Now, we can check if our OpenVAS or GVM vulnerability scanner is actually up and running. And we can do that with the command sudo gvm-start. And we can see something is already using port 9392, and that's given to us on the output right below the command. Most likely, that means that our GVM scanner is up and running. And if we look under the column UID, we can see GVM. So that indicates to us that our scanner is available to us. At this point, let's open up a web browser and navigate to the scanner itself. I'm going to be using Firefox in this example, but you can use whatever web browser you feel comfortable with. In my URL, I'm going to type the local IP address, which is https://127.0.0.1, and then I'm going to put :9392. And this is the default port that OpenVAS will run on when set up with the default configuration. And here we're met with the OpenVAS login screen. This is where you're going to input the default password that was generated at the end of the OpenVAS setup or GVM setup command. Once we log into OpenVAS, we're met with a default dashboard. Now, since this is our first time logging in, we have nothing to see on this dashboard because we haven't actually run any tasks or scans. To do our first scan, we navigate on the top bar to Scans and then Tasks. And on this page, in the top left, underneath the word Dashboards, we have a little wand symbol, which if we hover over it, gives us a drop-down where we can click Task Wizard. Clicking on that will allow us to launch a quick scan of any IP address that we want to. So in this case, I'm going to scan the target that we identified with our Nmap scan. So in the field beside IP address or hostname, I put in the target of 192.168.2.11. At that point, we click Start Scan. And now, underneath of our tasks, we see that we have one task in progress, and it's given a name of immediate scan of IP 192.168.2.11 at the bottom of the screen. And we also have a status, which was originally requested and now has shifted to a percentage. Once this has reached 100%, we will have completed our scan, and then we can start to analyze the results of the vulnerability scan itself. And now we can see underneath the status column at the bottom of the screen that our scan has completed and the status is listed as done. At this point, we can navigate to our reports and see what kind of results we have obtained.